Hi everyone, it's Rob, and I am here with the first look at the Void Gauntlet on the PTR. I was able to hop in, run up towards Ebon Scale Reach, and flex Void Gauntlet abilities against this crocodile. And I guess he's an alligator, but I thought he was going to eat me. This is the armor that you get on the PTR. This is medium. This is the Void Blade. This is the animation for Oblivion. And that is the animation for Petrified Scream. Then I went ahead and I respec'd to the other side of the tree. Thought I'd test my abilities out against this local pirate and pig. Things were getting a little sketchy there. I don't know if you noticed, but I went to actually block and forgot that I'm not wearing a shield. What happens with the Void Gauntlet is when you go to block, you actually sacrifice life for mana. These animations are the Orb of Decay, or as I like to call it, the Boomerang Ball, Baleful Tether, and Essence Rupture. The visuals on the Decay tree are much less exciting than they are on the Annihilation tree. In addition, I also captured all the modifiers to the abilities in the Annihilation tree and the Decay tree. But first up, the Annihilation tree. We have Keen Humility, 10% critical chance while all abilities are on cooldown. Petrifying Scream. Unleash a void-infused scream, dealing 100% weapon damage, staggering and inflicting root to enemies 5 meters in front of you. Disables enemy movement for 2 seconds. Bone-chilling Voice. Root duration increased by 1 second on targets below 50% health. Fortifying Echoes. Gain Fortify for each enemy hit, increasing damage absorption by 10% for 10 seconds per hit. Stacks up to 3 times. Forsaken Pact. Plus 10% damage while below 50% mana. Empowering Proximity. Gain Empower when casting abilities within 5 meters of an enemy, increasing damage by 10% for 5 seconds. Stacks up to 3 times. Refreshing Frailty. 5% cooldown reduction on all abilities when successfully hitting enemies afflicted by 3 or more debuff stacks. It can be from different debuffs. Void Blade. Summon a blade of void energy that converts your basic attacks to melee. Tap basic attack to perform a quick slash that deals 100% weapon damage, or hold to perform a thrust that deals 150% weapon damage. Both attacks inflict Disintegrate on successful hits, dealing 5% weapon damage per second and reducing damage absorption by 5% for 8 seconds. Stacks up to 3 times. 15-second duration. Fortified Blade. Gain Fortify on start, increasing damage absorption by 20% for 5 seconds. Vicious Void. 10% critical damage on Void Blade attacks. Leeching Blade. Successful thrust attacks heal self for 5% weapon damage per disintegrate stack on target. Scales exclusively with focus. Void Collar. On successful ability hit, gain a stack of Void Essence. Hit 6 stacks, consume all stacks, and gain a 3-meter aura that heals self and friendlies for 30% weapon damage and deals 30% weapon damage per second to enemies within. Healing scales exclusively with focus. 5 seconds duration, 20-second cooldown. Keen Confidence. 10% critical chance while above 50% health. Refreshing Precision. 10% cooldown reduction on all abilities on critical hit. Efficient Harvest. Harvest Essence health drain is reduced by 50% while below 25% mana. Leeching Agony. On critical hit, gain health equal to 15% of damage done. Oblivion. Summon a circular rift of void energy at your feet that deals 30% weapon damage per second to enemies and grabs Empower to self and friendlies. Increases damage by 20%. 5-meter radius, 6-second duration. Withering Oblivion. Your attacks inflict weaken to targets inside the radius, reducing their damage by 5% for 5 seconds per hit. Stacks up to 3 times. Invigorating Oblivion. Plus 15 stamina per second for self and friendlies while inside the radius. In the Decay tree, we have Deadly Range. 10% damage on successful ranged heavy attacks against targets more than 8 meters away. Baleful Tether. Fire a projectile that tethers you to an enemy, weakening it and empowering you by 4% per second, 20% maximum. The tether ends if the target moves beyond 15 meters, 10-second duration. Tethered Refresh. Successful hits against a tethered target reduce other Void Gauntlet cooldowns by 5%. Tethered Focus. 100% mana regeneration while the tether is active. Soul Eater. Regain 80% weapon damage as health if the tethered target dies. Scales exclusively with focus. Orb of Decay. Fire an unblockable orb that passes through enemies, deals 100% weapon damage, and inflicts Disintegrate. Dealing 5% weapon damage per second, reducing damage absorption by 5% for 8 seconds. Stacks up to 3 times at max range. It transforms into a healing orb and returns. Healing friendlies for 20% weapon damage per second for 5 seconds. Healing scales exclusively with focus. Draining Orb. Gain 5% mana per enemy hit by the orb. Slowing Orb. The orb slows enemies already afflicted by any debuff, reducing their movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. Detonating Orb. Press the ability input again to detonate the orb with a 4-meter explosion radius. Depending on the orb's phase, the explosion will either damage enemies for 100% weapon damage and apply a stack of Disintegrate, or heal friendlies for 70% weapon damage. Healing scales exclusively with focus. Essence Rupture. Fire a projectile that inflicts Essence Rupture for 10 seconds, healing anyone that hits the target for 20% of the damage done. Does not apply to damage over time. Invigorating Rupture. Players additionally receive 15 stamina when hitting the afflicted target. Overflowing Essence. Friendlies within 4 meters of the afflicted target are healed for 80% of your weapon damage when Essence Rupture ends. Scales exclusively with focus. Radiant Efficiency. Mana costs are reduced by 25% while above 50% mana. Leeching Bolts. Healing from ranged heavy attacks is increased by an additional 30% of damage dealt if the target is below 50% health. Mending Evasion. Dodging with full mana heals you for 80% weapon damage. Scales exclusively with focus. 20-second cooldown. Refreshing Harvest. Cooldowns are reduced by 10% per second while performing Harvest Essence. Extended Suffering. Successful ranged heavy attacks increase the duration of non-crowd control debuffs you have applied by 10%. Glimpse of the Void. Gain a stack of Void Essence per successful ability hit. Add 4 more stacks your next successful ranged heavy attack with instantly reset all Void Gauntlet cooldowns and remove all stacks. 15-second cooldown. So that's your first look at the Void Gauntlet on the PTR. These are all subject to change, but I hope you found this informative. I'm Rob, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in Eternum.